down people's necks, as you well know.
I know that very well.
And we delegate. We push down in the organization the responsibility to do as far as it can be accepted responsibly.
Sure.
And that, I think, is the secret to any organization's
I feel the
success.
same way, yeah.
But that's not to say that there aren't individuals out there who would just soon see me pass on through the gate. But I do believe, and I am confident, that most people who have experienced me as president of this institution would say that a fair job is being done. After all said and done, and I'm very, very sincere in saying this, I don't want anything said about me except one thing, and I hope to God that it can be said. That man was fair.
Well, I have found you fair, and the people I've talked to have found you fair.
Whether I agreed with him all the time or not is beside the point. I found him to be fair, and that.
Well, I learned a long time ago that if someone is liked by everybody and everybody agrees with everything that any one person does, he really probably isn't doing much.
That's right.
If you make decisions, you're bound to get some criticism.
That's right.
But no, I don't know. It's a good situation. It's a wonderful situation. And when you take a look here on the campus, and then of course I know that something about the reputation this institution has comparable to the others in the state. I mean, generally speaking. And the reputation of this place is unbelievable. I mean, the good things about it.
Yes. And the thing, I'm proud of many things. But you know, you don't find a spot anywhere any more beautiful than ours.
That's true.
I'm so proud of the way our place looks, and it's hard for me to go anywhere, but that people don't relate something very positive about Wilkes Community College, and I find myself many times on committees that have to do with the State Department of Community Colleges, the Association of Presidents, or whatever, because of the reputation of Wilkes Community College. And this is true of many of the rest of our personnel. Barbara Holt, right now, president of her organization, and Bill Davis, just now president of the National Council on Resource Development. And I could go on and on and on of people who have won awards. Had B. Towns, Bob Johnston, people who had attention called to themselves. People in our business department, particularly our students in the business area. It's just an unending record of superlatives that make us all
it's
proud.
almost unbelievable when you take a look at the things that are happening all the time to the people who are here on campus, who are part of the college itself. I mean, whether they're faculty or staff or students or whoever or whatever.
That's right.
It's amazing. And you know, it's hard to realize when the college was being planned that maybe we'll have 500 students. We hope to have at least 500.
Yeah. Well, we now have 2,500 full-time equivalent students, give or take a few. We are doing far more than we've ever done in Ashe and Allegheny counties.
Sure.
I'm just as proud as I can be of what we're doing with senior citizens. We have a model senior citizens operation in Mulberry. I was telling somebody this morning, there isn't anything I like to do more than to take something that's nothing and make it something. There was no senior citizen operation, and now you go out, it's one of the models in the state of North Carolina. To see over 100 people out there every day, it is also a nutrition site for the noon meal. To go into the old lodge and see it's full of crafts that those people have made and are sold out there every day. Go out and see one of the most complete woodworking shops you've ever seen, and see men and women in there. And Stokes Pearson, our good friend, out there teaching them. That gives, somebody I read years and years ago said that people who get into advanced years need somewhere to live, something to do, and somebody to love. If you can do those three, then you can well live to be 150, because there'll be years of meaning and purpose, somewhere to live and something to do and somebody to love. And that's what we're trying to do out there. And now we're launching off into the Allegheny with a senior citizens operation there. Building will be remodeled shortly to do the same type of thing up there, and we're excited about that. And another thing we're just getting into, we hired a lady this morning by the name of Catherine Reese, who has an MBA, and she'll be the head of our small business center in North Wilkesboro. So we've got great expectations for that.
Well, it's just totally unbelievable. You know, it seems so strange when I stop and think back that Judge Hayes had a very narrow view, although I've realized what he did in helping get the college here, probably as much as any other one individual, quite frankly. But the idea that the college could have grown over there where in that building back where the post office now is,
Mm-hmm.
because that was a recommendation from him that be the college site.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't imagine, and of course evidently he just couldn't see that far in the future.
Well, it's difficult for anybody to see.
Of course it would be, but I mean,
yeah, no one would have dreamed that the college would be as pervasive as it is today. But I firmly believe that the development of the community college system is one of the greatest things to happen in the state of North Carolina. I think that it is one of the chief reasons why North Carolina is looked at by people from other states as the first place, most desired place to go to relocate and turn to work and so on. And I think our institutions have addressed these issues of training head on. And North Carolina has really been a model for other states. Many other states have modeled what we've done with new and expanding industry, for instance. And, you know, to see at graduation time, as we did this past graduation, a 70-year-old person come across the stage and get a high school diploma, to see people enter into the adult basic education program at the lowest level, and then into the adult high school program, and then into a credit program, and watch that step by step by step improvement in the quality of life, the self-respect, esteem, to be able to say I am who I am, and to be able to do and to be independent. This is the story of our lives. We do it day in and day out, and there's so many facets to our program. You take human resources development, the skills center, the small business center, the Allegheny operation, the ASH operation, what we're trying to do here, and vocational programs and the technical programs and the college parallel programs. And you say, goodness, that's so much to say grace over, and it is. But every single one of them is addressed to a particular public where there is a need. And if it didn't happen, if it couldn't happen here at Wilkes Community College, 90% of it wouldn't happen at all.
That's right.
So this is one of the best investments that can be made by the state of North Carolina, is in this series of 58 institutions across the state, because it's bringing this 10th largest state in the union along in quality in addition to numbers. We're going to continue to grow in North Carolina. We're going to grow in sophistication. The industry is going to improve. The opportunities are going to improve in North Carolina as long as we keep doing what we're doing. We're in the top 5 states in the amount of money, percentage of the tax dollar that we put in higher education. Now we're in the 40s. 42 to 43, somewhere in there in per capita income. But it used to be 48th.
Yes,
and so we're bringing that up slowly. But it is coming, and we're just now seeing the results of what we're doing through education. You got to come back to the basic fundamental. You don't do much if you don't start with education. And that's the best investment that we can make.
Well, I don't think that the general public really realizes what the problems are, as you certainly realize them, and as you actually see them, not only that, but that you get something done about it. That's the thing that really amazes me sometimes. I mean,
Well,
you got quite so many things to think about, so many avenues that are possible, so many possibilities, so many problems. At the same time, evidently you don't recognize problems, you think of them as opportunities.
absolutely, absolutely. This is what makes every day a challenge. I don't accept closed door.
No, I know.
There are too many other ways to go, and this was what makes life exciting for me. Not to say that there aren't failures, there are from time to time, but I've never seen a failure that did not open the door to success.
I can see what you mean.
If you put it in the proper context.
Sure.
And you know, you can hang your head and walk away if you want to, but that's not the way to go. That's not the way to go. The whole psychology of failure is built on failure. The whole
Yes, I know.
psychology of success is built on success. Now, you have a setback, and look at that setback, isolate it, and if you will, put circles around it, and then identify points on that circle where there are other opportunities. And I guarantee you that you can come up with another game plan that will succeed probably better. And it all came about because of a setback.
Sure.
And I guess that's kind of a philosophy.
Which is a good philosophy.
I think so. And I think really that's the story of the success of this country. This is a part of the psychology that has made this great democracy. And we've talked about it today. It has to do with the work ethic. It has to do with basic fundamentals. It has to do with a relationship to God Almighty. It has to do with keeping one's perspective in terms of who and what he is. All of these things, I think, the rugged individualism, the intense drive for liberty, that's what's made this country what it is, and that's what will keep it great if we don't lose sight of some of these basic principles.
You know what you sound like?
I have
A
no.
pioneer.
Well, no.
Well, really,
I
I
don't
mean,
consider
no,
myself.
well, I
pioneer.
mean, from what I know of American history, or you sound like a pioneer. Quite frankly, that's what you are in the matter of community college education. I mean, you may not like me putting it that way, but that's the way I see
I
it.
bring out my Daniel Boone hat.
No, you don't need a Daniel Boone hat. I mean, things have changed somewhat so far as some things are concerned, but it's still what you're saying about this business of having a goal, of knowing yourself, believing in yourself, and seeing possibilities. I'd say it's pioneer.
Well, I consider
I
that
like
a compliment. I would hope that
Well,
I'd have
it
some
is
of
a
that
compliment.
spirit.
It's the way I mean it, quite
Yeah.
frankly. And so I have never seen you, quite frankly. I'm sure there are times when you get maybe depressed sometimes, but I have never seen you when you weren't let's up and at 'em sort of thing, which is good. I mean,
Well,
that's
there-
the rest of us feel the same way.
There are low moments,
Well, of course they're bound to
but I
be.
try to have those behind the door. I try not to show them.
That's when you close the door. Then
Right.
I see that. But well, let's see now, Doctor. Is there anything that you think of that we have left out? Oh yes, one thing that you mentioned the fact that you and your wife Dee Dee both were in the band, and you play the saxophone. I had thought about asking you to bring your saxophone and play some for us, but I forgot it.
Well, I haven't played in several years, and
Haven't you?
and I'm afraid it would be a terrible noise. Again, it's a matter of time. I really have not had time to devote to it, and
Well, we enjoyed
one
it.
day I hope to pick it up again.
Well, we enjoyed it very much when, I believe it was a command performance where you did play
Yes.
some few years ago.
Yeah.
It was very enjoyable.
Well, at that time I was playing regularly
Yes.
because I was in the National Guard band and had some reason to stay with it. But I got out of that, and I just haven't played. One
Well,
day maybe.
I hope you get back to it since you enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, I enjoy it very much.
Well, that's good. But have we left out anything?
I don't think so. I believe you've covered the world.
Not quite, but I think maybe we've covered the subject, and we do appreciate more than you know you're being willing to do this for us, because I think it's extremely important to have it. You know how I feel about the matter of taping anyway, and so I think it's important to have you on tape where we will have it, and where future generations can take a look at this and say, well, now, seeing you and hearing you, this was Dr. Daniel. That's one reason sometimes I interject a few things that maybe aren't all that earth-shaking, but I think they're important to see the person as they are.
Well, I agree with what you're saying. On my wall at home, the picture is, two pictures of Calvin Jackson Daniel and his wife, my great-grandfather. He has a full beard and very stern demeanor, appearance, and she looks like she could bite 20-penny nails. But I would love to have talked to Calvin Jackson Daniel at some length, much as we're doing today.
Sound like sort of like the American Gothic.
Yes, I used to sit with a great aunt whose name was called her Aunt Eddie, my grandfather's sister, who knew something about the family. I don't know a great deal about the family, but she knew that three brothers came from Ireland, and one settled in that area, border between North and South Carolina, and that was where we came from. Another just outside of Nashville, Tennessee, and one in Mississippi. The one in Nashville had 13 children, I think, a bunch, one of whom started the Jack Daniel Distillery, and some people are familiar with that name. And so I sometimes, in a frivolous mood, refer to my Uncle Jack of distillery fame. But that was sort of where we came from, I guess. And a part of this 6 million or so people of Scotch-Irish descent through this part of the country. And that's one of the reasons, frankly, why we have accommodated ourselves so easily, I think, to this area. If you follow the ridge of mountains through this part of the country down into South Carolina, there isn't that much difference in the people.
No, I know there's not.
Very, very similar. And I think there's a good reason for that. The heritage is there. And to hear on occasion Kratos Williams up at Appalachian talk about the great tradition of the Scotch-Irish through this part of the country gives one a renewed sense of family and belonging. And these are our people. And that's the reason why I wouldn't want ever to leave this region, because I identify with it so much.
Well, that's one reason that I like it here, and of course, as you probably may or may not know, I lived in South Carolina on 2 occasions before the Second World War, and then afterwards, about 3 years prior to the war, and then 5 years later. And I love the people down there, and I lived in Anderson most of the time, although I was all over that whole section. But to me, it's some of the most wonderful people in the world are in South Carolina.
Sure.
And I enjoyed them. I found that the one thing that always interested me when I was there, certainly, well, I think in both occasions, was that politics was always terribly important in an election year. And in spite of the fact nearly all of them were Democrat,
yeah,
they still took time out from business to argue politics out on the street, and business just had to suffer when there was an election go off while they talked politics.
Yes, that's right. There are more Democrats down there than there are people.
Yes, there are.
And it's about, you know, then there are a lot of Republicans up here. But when you get down to talk about the basic issues, politics doesn't change that much.
No,
It may have different labels.
That's right.
Well, thank you, Jay, for having
Thank
me,
you,
and
for doing that.
I hope it'll be worth something to somebody
Well,
someday.
it will, man. It's been nice sitting here talking with you about this, and we do appreciate it when you know.
Thank you. Cut that.